Hello, everybody. This is Neil with Portal to Ascension. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Just double checking really quick, make sure all the platforms are on. Yes, we are good. And so happy to be here with you all once again. And what you just saw was the Glastonbury conference trailer, in which Laura Eisenhower, who's coming up in a moment here, is also going to be at. And that's our second annual conference in Glastonbury. That's extensionglastonbury.com. So check that out. But today we're speaking about an amazing event that's coming up in about a week with Laura. And this event is called Astrology of 2024 and Galactic Awakening. So we're going to have a conversation about what we're going to be experiencing at that event and why it is important. So without any further ado, let's just go ahead and bring Laura on and we'll begin the conversation here. Hey, Laura, welcome.
Hey, Neil, good to see you.
It's good to see you too. Thank you so much. So I'm excited for this event because, we called it specifically Astrology of 2024 because it's the beginning of the year. And as you know, we've had like so many transformations over the last year. I don't know how it was for you, but 2023 was kind of a roller coaster for me. It was a lot of intense energies. So like maybe because, you do astrology and you also talk about Galactic Awakening, I just want to hand it over to you. And what are we going to experience at this event? And maybe what can we experience collectively for 2024?
Awesome. Yeah, well, 2023, there's a lot of retrograding. The outer planets all retrograded at the same time. And outer planets are very initiatory. And they throw us into massive growth periods that really connect with the organic ascension timeline. When we're able to move through those things, not necessarily with grace and ease, but with awareness and mindfulness, the shadow elements of these planets are very much weaponized and psyops and different events that take place that are really about the artificial timeline and the siphoning and harvesting of our energies are trying to throw us into a more weakened, victimized state so that we give our power away and we miss out on these great initiations. And so it's really about how to stay aligned and how to stay aware and understand our own personal chart so that we can navigate beyond being on autopilot or just being reactionary or just triggered or in fear or really dropping down into those lower vibrations that really come through our devices, the media, and all the indoctrination that we see, the divide and conquer, and the reversal technologies, the gender reversal technologies now, and how these weapons, bioweapons as well, have amped up and frequency distortions. But in the face of that, we're amping up. We are becoming the override frequency. We're going through massive shifts and changes, and pretty much life gives us everything we need in order to grow and move into those higher levels. But if we misunderstand it, if we judge it, if we're looking from the outside in versus the inside out, we can miss the mark and have our growth stunted or get very blocked and even find ourselves very unwell as the body is not harmonizing with distortion or things that aren't based in truth. So there's the growth periods that are ascension symptoms, and then the sabotaging influences that can be symptoms of our physical body and pain body crying out for our soul to be heard and our greater intuition to be honored. So everything is really supporting ascension in the greater cosmic scheme of things, and the earth body, the mother energy returning, especially in 2010 when the sun started to move through Ophiuchus, Venus transits, and all these different corrections taking place. So I get into all of that and what are the planets doing in 2024. And along with that explanation, I am offering all attendees to have a check-in with me. You can book it on my website under book, and that's cosmicgaia.org. And then for subscribers who pay every month, for Zoom events and discounted sessions and newsletters, they get the coupon code that you can message me directly about. So I definitely go into all of that and, how that relates to the Galactic Awakening, how these aspects help to open up our galactic chakras, help us to switch on dormant DNA, and it helps us to really connect with our greater galactic heritage and what our higher self is doing on our behalf that sometimes we don't quite understand. Again, it's very easy for humans to mistake events happening in their life as a misfortune or just a judgment that's based in duality versus a blessing that helps us to move on to something even greater. So sometimes things are ripped out of our lives if we're not taking action to create change when change needs to happen, maybe because our self-worth is suffering or we feel we don't deserve any better than what we're getting. So it's really good to know what's happening, but also check with your chart and see how it's impacting you personally. So that I wanted to bring that in addition to the 2-hour presentation.
Right. And you shared, you started out by talking about the shadow aspects of specific planets. So just, let's get a little bit into some details here for everyone. And so when we talk about shadow aspects of planets, you and I both are aware of the Saturn moon matrix and the shadowy aspect of Saturn. Are you saying that each of the planets have a shadowy aspect and they have a harmonic one? And what does this have to do with the judgments against the shadow or a reconciliation of acceptance of the shadow? How do we kind of, what I'm saying? How do we reconcile those two worlds?
Right. Very awesome question. So we're going to do the shadow work, and the shadow work pulls us into, that dark night of the soul, or that introspective state of processing through things, looking at the decisions we've been making, the choices we've been making, checking in with our health on every level, emotional, physical, spiritual, mental. And so, that's doing the shadow work. But when we're being captured by the lower aspects of the planet and we're not going through our own internal clearing or purification or observing and gaining wisdom and insight and rebirth, which is Pluto, right? So we talked about Saturn. Pluto, death, rebirth, alchemy, transformation. Pluto takes us into a very dark night of the soul, or into what some may term the underworld, but it's really like the mother womb wanting to rebirth us. And that's very much what the land in Glastonbury holds. And that's what was very appreciated in those times. And so the shadow aspect would be feelings of wanting to die, or just feeling just a darkness and heaviness and judging it. And then maybe looking outside yourself, taking a pharmaceutical, branding yourself as having some sort of, depression or mental illness, when really, if we breathe through it and embrace it and acknowledge it and give it the unconditional love that it really wants, and give it a voice through creativity and through our words, we can begin to move through it and move into the higher levels. So the shadow side is always going to hit us, but it's not a destination. So when we're being energetically courted into something coming through the media or something outside of ourselves that wants us to stay in that vibration, the harvesting, the siphoning, and the infection of our creative channels begins to happen. And that's really like Neptune, which connects with our creative imagination, the multidimensional. But the shadow side is delusions or belief systems that aren't in harmony with our real inner truth. That might come from religious programming. It might come from the medical industry. It might come from the indoctrination in the school systems, or what our parents passed down to us that is needing, the growth, and might not acknowledge its advanced starseed child, and might put a lot of repression and suppression on some of these things. So we're always faced with doing that shadow work to get to the higher levels. But how much are we being manipulated into not getting to the other side of it and gaining more wisdom and strength and sovereignty? Where are we feeling so vulnerable that, something outside of us is going to save us and solve it, when very often that problem, reaction, solution is a manipulation to keep us in a dependency bond with the inverted system. So the more we understand that, the more we can cut the cords, the more we can also appreciate that we're not going to completely just walk away from this inverted matrix. We're going to infuse it with a higher vibration. That's the override frequency. And that is above the 5G. And I like to say we're 5D towers. And that's really about the fifth chakra, speaking truth, speaking from the heart, and amplifying, that energy as a higher frequency than all the lower level dark technologies that seek to, throw us into a shadow aspect without being able to rise above, which assimilates us more and more into the AI, which requires us to be in a lower vibration for it to even be able to copy, match, or mimic. So our participation in this inverted matrix or artificial timelines is only really possible in these lower levels. And when we can rise above, then we are aligned with the organic ascension timeline and our true birthright and what our DNA potential really holds. So the more mindfulness and awareness we put towards that, the more we'll notice a beautiful future begin to unfold for us. We'll be much more the observers instead of victimized by what we might see in the world and in the news. Not to say that having a reaction is a negative thing, because that's also part of taking action. But taking action from a place of clarity and personal empowerment, so that you can be a vessel and a divine human that is capable of creating change and leading by example and standing up for the things that matter, without losing yourself to how some of these movements have also been weaponized and funded for this very purpose. There are better ways, and it's encoded in our soul and in our greater wisdom and knowledge, and our galactic memories and times that we spent in advanced civilizations. Also, the lessons that were learned during those times of why those crumbled, or what might have happened. So we have everything we need to really take this to the next level, and not keep endlessly looping in the same patterns. And it's something that we can celebrate and have fun with, especially with like-minded people, and with people you can be yourself with, and to embrace, the rehabilitation and the coming together without the facades, without having to feel like you have to be perfect, and all the judgments that come with just the world that we see, even when it seems to be moving in the right direction. It's surprising how much work we still need to do to maintain integrity, unity, consciousness, and sacred union, so that we can move through these growth periods and not slip into the inversions that take advantage of that shadow work. When we can be more mindful and embrace it without judgment, we'll get to the other side and realize, wow, how much we've grown, how much our vitality has increased, how much we're reversing aging, and how much our voice and our words really are the great manifestors in our life. And to keep it clear from any infection coming from outside of us is the greatest gift we can give ourselves. And yeah, that's what I really want to bring to light and help people individually looking at their own charts and making sure, whatever's happening on the world stage, we understand the blessing of the growth period that is really wanting our attention. If we could just find our inner peace, go outside into nature, turn off your devices, put it in a Faraday bag, and just take a break, so you can really tune in to what your higher intelligence, your intuition, your soul, your guides really are guiding you towards, which is being the best version of yourself and experiencing this beautiful ascension that is a real thing.
Yes, exactly. And for everybody tuning in, I just want to let you know, if you didn't hear us in the beginning, Laura is doing a webinar in about a week and a half, 2 weekends from now. And the link is in the bio. The link is in the description, and link is also pinned to the comment section. And if you're on Instagram, the link's in our bio. Go ahead and check it out there. And it's called Astrology of 2024 and the Galactic Awakening. And I just want to, before asking this question, I want to let everybody know, we put a lot of your videos, Laura, on our YouTube, clips of you, right? And we get comments for you all the time, people saying, "Oh my God, Laura, I missed you. Where have you been?" And a lot of people aren't aware that you were taken off this platform. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to let everybody know that, Laura has been putting out some amazing information, and she speaks about things a lot of people aren't willing to speak about, and with no filter. And she suffered the consequences for that. They deplatformed her. She had a huge following going on YouTube, really getting a lot of awareness out, and they did that. And she continues to move forward with this information. And after putting so much energy and time into creating something like that, like creating the platform, it's a person doing it myself. It can be a really huge hit and kind of like a downer, really, to like experience that. So if you want to tune into Laura's work, you need to follow her website, you need to subscribe to her, and also come to this event. If you want to like really tune into what she's doing and receive information from it directly and get some perks, sign up for that event there. Okay, so check it out in all the areas you can that we have it pinned. So Laura, I want to ask you now about reversal tech. You speak about reversal tech quite often, and I've heard the term Nephilim reversal grid from you, from other people. And could you just speak about what is the reversal tech? Like, what is exactly the Nephilim reversal grid and reversal tech in general?
Well, the Nephilim reversal grid was placed in the planetary grid network 26 or so thousand years ago, and it's located in the Stonehenge area. And a lot of grid work has been done to repair that, but it's really targeted the Michael Mary lines. So there's the Michael Mary reversal that is connected to this. And basically the Albion and Cathar body being unplugged, which represents the sacred union, divine union. So it's the Christ Sophia, it's the Mary Michael, it's the Guinevere Arthur lines, right? And so United Kingdom, going from like Cornwall up to Avebury, Glastonbury is where this line of energy is. And so the stone circles, Stonehenge, and just all the sacred sites have very much been impacted by this, because that is really where we experience that whole concept of sacred union and what these ancient civilizations understood about, the elemental kingdoms being nourished by, this union, which relates to our DNA, the higher harmonic universes in our DNA. And so the scrambled DNA codes and what we've called junk DNA is basically aspects of ourself that we can't really access because we've been in duality. We've been in the Saturn moon matrix patriarchal programs. That whole sacred union has been disrupted with imbalance that we feel within ourselves, that we can only really reconcile within ourselves, because ultimately we have to win the war within in order to experience it externally. So everything that we've sort of been taught or programmed or conditioned to believe or modeled, and what has come through TV and just all the different events that have taken place in the dark cycles of the last 26,000 years since the final Atlantean cataclysm. We've had amnesia, we forgot our galactic memories, and this also relates to the Sumerian Egypt invasion. But these dark technologies, I mean, yeah, there's the Niberian dietic crystal grid manipulations as well that have messed with our kundalini and also have created an aging program. So a lot of the toxicity that we experience, a lot of the manipulation of our food with GMOs, the spraying of our skies, and everything that we know has been an assault upon us, and the frequency distortions that come through our devices, is to really keep that alive. And that's why it's ramping up, because this is a time of repairing it and healing it and awakening to it. Like, who are we truly, and what are we made of? These reversal technologies are based in harvesting and siphoning energy. So when we call them the powers that be, we have to remember that we're the powers that be. Their power is stolen. So all the power that they have is based in parasiticness, vampiricness, if those are words, being vampiric and parasitic, and what they are able to take, all the dark rituals, all the things that they do in these places, and how they manipulate different planetary energies, because the planets are connected to our organs, they're connected to our nervous system, they're connected to our endocrine system, our glands. We are stargates, our galactic chakras, and all that. When it begins to open up, we begin to upgrade and switch on these dormant aspects that is based in integration of polarity. And the reason looking at a chart is important is because the south node opposite the north node shows what did we come in with, what energy signature have we been experiencing for lifetimes, and where do we need to go, which is directly opposite on a soul level, in order to integrate that polarity. So if you're born with a south node Virgo and your north node's in Pisces, you're integrating the Virgo Pisces, which is very much about understanding that physicality and the Virgo earth energy connected to Mercury and mental health, and how that manifest health in our physical body can be reconciled by understanding the Piscean Neptune energy of the creative imagination, of understanding the unconscious, what patternings are hiding in the unconscious that we might still buy into or believe in that is hurting our physical body. When we integrate that, we're more able to address things on a more shamanic or energy medicine kind of level. And so, like right now, we're dealing with the South Node in Libra going into the North Node Aries that has had the Chiron aspect. So without going too in depth, that's what I'm going to be talking about in my talk. But that integration of polarity is really what helps to switch these things on. If we look at the 12 zodiac, 12 stranded DNA, now the 13th sign, which is connected to the ether, the great purifier, that was all in reversal. That was a part of the reversal grid manipulation, so that element, the quintessence connected to the divine mother, was not as available. That's why we've seen epidemics and genocides and a very disempowered humanity. Now that energy is more available than ever. And look how it's been weaponized. Don't breathe in that breath of life or that ether. Don't connect with that or one another. So it's all available to us. We just have to be very mindful and realize the greater cosmic intelligence that we are a part of, the true planetary grid network that is in our dormant DNA and our galactic chakras in full system. we can begin to repair and embody all of this by recognizing where we're being led astray. And I look at it metaphorically like a bad partner, a narcissistic, abusive partner, or a bad step parent. It's not our real source creator. It's not our real partner. It's not our real true reality. We need to divorce it, break up with it, and know that we deserve true love. And that true love is our relationship with creation, ourselves, and one another, and that special union that we have with the soulmate that comes along the way, and eventually that twin flame. So yeah, and all the reversal technologies are so that through osmosis, we're born into something that makes it incredibly difficult. That's why a lot of us have had to just take a huge break and just hit the road, go travel, just step away from it all, and really tune into that greater calling of why we came here during this time and what we're here to remind people of. Every single one of us has the potential to switch this on and embrace it.
Exactly, yes. And so for anybody who's interested in tuning into this webinar, link in the description. Also, unlimited replay access. So if you're watching this on the podcast in 2 to 3 weeks from now, go ahead and check it out. So for the last question, Laura, I see in the world like a few things. There's docility, right? Where you're so docile that you can't even be fazed by things, don't even see the atrocities, don't even acknowledge Epstein's list, And then there is anger with docility. We're so angry, but we're so docile and like just have our basic needs are pretty much met. We got warm showers, barbecue. We don't even want to rock the boat. So it's just like, I'm a little angry, but I'm not going to do anything about it. And then there's just pure anger, right? And all those things right there need to move into what you said before, which is a sense of peace and clarity, right? Which gets us to a neutral point, right? So maybe you can provide some sort of perspective shift. How do we move from that? Because some people are enraged, furious, but when you come from a place of such anger, you almost always come from a reactory pace where you can't actually make change. So how do you move from that anger? And is it okay to experience that anger? How long do you experience it for? These are some questions that I've heard along the way.
Oh, totally. Well, we're elemental beings. The nucleic acids of our DNA are elemental, connected to the platonic solids, earth, air, fire, water, ether. The fifth element connected to mitochondrial DNA is the ether element, connected to the mother, which has been damaged because the disconnect from the mother energy, which is very much what the reversal grids and the dark mother reversal energy is all about, and what the cabal and the elitists are feeding into in order to keep us in that, disconnect. So there's a lot of unconscious trauma that we carry with us. There's a lot of anger that people don't know what to do with because they can sense something is wrong. They don't want to do anything about it. But, that sort of inversion or lower level elemental energy that people experience has a flip side to it, which is passion, right? Passion and fire, the fire of transformation. So we want to get in touch with that anger and not judge it. Where is it coming from? Do we feel like something's not being done? Well, maybe we're the one to step up and do it. People who feel isolated and like there's no like-minded people around, they feel angry. Well, maybe you're the one to put something on a bulletin board that says, hey, I'm having a gathering every week and I'm showing this particular video. If anybody's interested, you might be surprised that people come out of the woodwork. So don't be afraid to use that fire energy to begin to direct it into something creative. Because if you don't direct it into something creative, it's going to eat away at you or you're going to explode and you might cause harm to those that are just in the line of fire because you got snapped or triggered. So you need to find some kind of creative expression, get to know it, ask it, why are you here? What do you want? Same thing with the water element. If you're really depressed, that's really just like your soul calling, your soul longing wants to be known and heard. It might feel like something's impossible when actually it's not. You might feel that you can't change anything in your life and you just have to accept the world as it is. Well, that's your water element. That's also connected to being psychic and intuitive. So what is your deeper soul trying to tell you? Well, it's probably telling you what your mission is. But if you're not acting on it, you're going to be depressed because you feel like, just the world is the way it is and we're just here to wake up to it and we just have no choice, no power, no say in the matter. We have to remember that we do. And to come together with like-minded people to find a creative outlet is the way to really, shift it. Anger, fire, you want to make sure that you're moving your physical body, that the energy circulation is really flowing because it begins to damage our organs. Any of these lower level fire, water, earth, or anything, we know that kidneys hold fear, lungs hold grief, liver holds anger, right? So we just want to not judge it, give it unconditional love, give it a voice. Interview yourself, get to know yourself. Like, hey, why are you here? What do you want? You want to give it unconditional love. Look at it like a little kid having a temper tantrum, or just, like, what is it you need? Now, is that need or want coming from negative ego, coming from selfishness or self-centeredness? Do you want to balance that out and, just humble yourself a little bit? I mean, the more you can dialogue with it, the more you can write it out, turn it into a poem, turn it into a painting, the less you're going to be internalizing it, the less damage it's going to do on the inside and to those that are around you. Like road rage. What's up with people just flipping out, right? I mean, deaths occur, just because somebody cut you off or this and that. It's like people are at the boiling point. There's so much about what they don't understand, what they're being told to think, and the inner truth is just being suppressed, and the body just doesn't know how to handle it. And so all these eruptions, all these lower emotions, all this anxiety, and really it's just you wanting to be heard and you telling yourself, you need to get to know me better. Because in the face of all these symptoms, we can get to know ourselves better or hand it over to somebody to suppress it, to put a Band-Aid on it. And it doesn't do anything but make you numb and make you zombified, so take a break, step away from everybody, and give it the respect and love it deserves without judgment. And know that this is a really beautiful part of yourself emerging that is going to help guide you and show you the way, as long as you can honor it and appreciate it and find out what it's showing up for. I mean, I did that, and that's how I found my mission. Why am I so angry? Why am I so depressed? It's like, oh, okay. And then you take action, and then you let it flow, and you let the tears flow. Look at nature around you. When it needs to rain, it rains. The sun is always there, but it needs to rain in order for the sun to shine. So, learn from nature. Nature is the most ultimate teacher. And as we see the elements of the planet have been messed with and contaminated, same with our inner elementals. So if we can purify it within ourselves, I feel the earth responds to us. And that's a huge way we begin to cleanse the elementals and move into a higher earth energy, on top of making sure on a ground level, we're cleaning things up as well.
Beautiful. And this is what you're going to be taking us on a journey from, right? Galactic astrology, what it looks like for this year moving forward, and then ultimately into the tools to transcend and to get to a place of peace, so we can make some real change for ourselves, so to be at peace. So then we can go outside and actually change what's going on outside, the atrocities that we see, to be in a place of peace for everybody.
Oh, totally. Yep. That's definitely what this webinar is going to be about. And I'm really, excited to meet people one-on-one and see how all these energies are impacting you. And you can sign up on my website. If you're an attendee, if you're a subscriber, you get a discount code, but everybody who attends will get the chance to do a one-on-one. And I'll definitely, go in depth about that. And there's a lot to look forward to. I know we see the state of the world, and sometimes it feels very different than that, but we have way more creative power than we can imagine. And it's just important that we unhook ourselves from where our creative channels are being infected and where we're losing ourselves to all of that. We're here to write a much better script. And we hold that override frequency to smash down and dismantle the dark weapons, because it's all about frequency. And if we're in those higher levels, it has nothing on us. We actually dismantle it. It's getting hooked in by the false narratives and the indoctrination that makes us very vulnerable to the dark weapons, because it keeps that antenna and relationship alive and assimilates us more and more away from our soul matrix, which is the inversion of ascension, which causes dissension, causes digression. And then we have to do this all over again. And a lot of us really don't want to. So, let's just work together and hold hands in this crazy journey, which is the best part of it, is that we all have one another.
Yes, exactly. I love what you said. We can rewrite the script. We are the directors, we're the actors, directors, the producers. We just got to wake up to it, right?
Totally.
So, yeah. All right, Laura, thank you so much for being here. And everybody, really excited for this event coming up with Laura, first event of the year on Portal to Ascension with Laura. So it's going to be really fun, a lot of information, awareness. So sign up, description, bio, everywhere you can. We have it on our website, portalascension.org. Laura, do you want to say any last few words before we close out?
Well, I'm really excited. Thank you for hosting me for this. And I know we've got another one coming up in August, and then Glastonbury, and just so much to look forward to always with you. Thank you for just your friendship over the years, and for all that you do, Neil, and all your listeners. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope you'll join us.
Thanks, Laura. Okay, thank you everybody for tuning in, and hope to see you at the event, or we'll see you at some other event or stream sometime in the future. So sending you all lots of love, and see you later. Bye.